So we want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video for the important change to the Ultimate Radial menu. We're going to briefly go over the things that you could experience for an existing project, some of the errors that you could see, or some of the unwanted functionality. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the depreciated functions and how to do the new ones, because they all have all the same functionality now, and we had these 3 different functions that you could use, but we condensed it all down into one. So let's talk about that really quick. The old functions were the add radial button, the update radial button, and the insert radial button. And these were kind of confusing because they all functioned very similar, but they had different use cases. So we wanted to condense that down into one function. So now it's just the register to radial menu, and you just provide the name of the menu for the static function, obviously, then your callback function, and then the button info like you would before. And in order to get the add functionality, you could either just leave this last parameter out, which means that it'll just add this information to the next available button on the radial menu, and it'll create one if it needs to. Or if you put in an index that is out of range, it will add a button to the end of the radial menu. Then for the update radial button, this was where you could specifically select an index and update that button. You can use this register to radial menu function again, and just provide it with the index of the button that you want to update. And then for the insert radial button, you do the same exact thing. Register to radial menu, provide the menu name, your callback function, the button info, and then the index that you want to insert it into. And one change to this functionality is this will only insert a new button if the button index that you're trying to insert into is already taken. So if there is already information registered to index 3 in this example, then it will insert a new button at index 3. Otherwise, it'll just register to that information. So it works similar to the update in that way. But those are the new functions, or this is the new one function that you can use for all of this functionality. And one thing we want to note is that these are just depreciated. We kept the functionality inside of the script for all of these functions. So you can continue using these, but you will get a warning that they are obsolete now. They've been depreciated. So if you can, and you would like to, please update to the register to radial menu, because you should be able to get a little bit better experience that way. The other thing that we want to talk about is that we did change one of the options, because instead of, before we could change if you wanted an icon per button, like if you wanted this button to have an icon but not the next one, and we figured it's going to be very common that you want every button to have an icon. So we actually made it to where it's just a radial menu option. You'll also probably notice we changed the inspector a lot. So some of the options you were used to may have moved, but we have this option now for button icon, and it's no longer in this inspector down here for this specific radial button. And you can see in our scene, we still have our icons, but when I press play here, you'll see that this doesn't work. These icons are not showing visually anymore. It just shows the text, but it's not showing the icon anymore. So what we're going to do is, all you have to do is go into the radial menu on these and enable the button icon. And now you can see we have a color. We can change the color of that. And now when we press play, you can see that when we register this potion here, the icon is updated accordingly. So that's the one thing we wanted to, or the couple things that we wanted to go over. And it's also the same with the button text. I wanted to mention that as well, so that we have these different options here. So hopefully this will help kind of clear some things up. And if you do run into any issues, please don't hesitate to contact us at tankandhealerstudio@outlook.com, and we'll definitely help you get the Ultimate Radial menu working if you run into any issues. So thank you for watching this video.